This is the brand new Galaxy S22 Ultra in Phantom Black. And today, I'm going to show you the fastest way to transfer all of your data from any Samsung, Apple, or non-Samsung Android device to your new S22 Ultra. And this data transfer method works whether you're setting up your phone for the first time or you need to transfer data after you've completed the initial setup process. We're going to start this off with a quick unboxing and size comparison to a few other devices. Opening the box, we are met with the S22 Ultra. There's a little pull tab at the bottom to help you get it out of the box. Behind the S22 Ultra is another little box. And inside that, you get a USB-C to USB-C cable, a quick start guide, and on the back of that box, you get your SIM ejector tool. And just like with the S21 Ultra, there's no charging brick or headphones in the box. And it looks like Samsung will not be including those anymore anytime in the future either. Taking a closer look at the S22 Ultra, we see that there's a protective film on the top that we can peel away. And right off the bat, I can tell that there is no screen protector built into this. So if you do want to get a screen protector, you will have to buy one separately. Flipping over to the back, we get another protective film, and at the bottom, there's these two little icons right here telling you that the SIM ejector needs to be pressed into this hole on the left, not the hole on the right. That hole is for your microphone. Let's go ahead and peel this off. And it looks like there's some protective film around the edges as well. First impressions, this looks incredible. I still love that Phantom Black color. It's super fingerprint resistant. Phantom Black's the color I've been getting since the Galaxy S21 Ultra, and I absolutely love it. And in case you guys wanted to see it, here's a close-up of the two camera modules so you guys can see the differences between them. Again, this is the S21 Ultra on the left and the S22 Ultra on the right. Now here's a quick size comparison to a bunch of similarly sized devices. This here is the iPhone 12 Pro Max, but its width and height and screen size are exactly the same as the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So this would be a pretty close comparison to the iPhone 13 Pro Max as well. This obviously is the Galaxy S22 Ultra. Here's the Note 20 Ultra, and this is the S22 Ultra. And now here's a quick screen size comparison. As you can see, the Note 20 Ultra and S22 Ultra have almost the exact same screen size and form factor, which makes sense because the S22 Ultra is based off of the Note line of devices. The S21 Ultra has notably more curved edges, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max has again the notably curved edges and significantly larger bezels compared to all of the Samsung devices. One important thing to point out though is that since this is the 12 Pro Max, if you were to compare this to the 13 Pro Max, you'd notice that the top notch would actually be significantly thinner by comparison to the 12 Pro Max. Other than that, the form factor, screen size, and bezel size would be identical. Now it's time to get the S22 Ultra set up. First thing we need to do is turn off both devices. Now that both devices are off, we need to take the SIM card out of the old device and put it in the new device. To take the SIM card out, just grab your SIM ejector tool that came with your S22 Ultra, find the SIM tray on your old device, and insert the SIM ejector tool into the ejection port, and give it a little push and the port will pop out. If your old device has a micro SD card, leave the micro SD card in, just take the SIM card out. Now eject the SIM tray on your S22 Ultra. You'll notice that on the S22 Ultra, you only have room for a SIM card, no micro SD card. So that means it's official. With the S21 Ultra, Samsung got rid of micro SD card support, and now here we are with the S22 Ultra, and they still haven't put it back in, so I highly doubt we're going to see the micro SD card come back to any of Samsung's smartphones. Now place your SIM card into the tray. It should only go in one way, and that is with the contacts facing up, and slide the SIM tray back into the S22 Ultra. Let's set my Note 20 Ultra to the side for now, and we're just going to focus on the S22 Ultra. Next thing we're going to do is turn it on by holding the power button for a few seconds. Once the phone boots up, tap Start. And since I've added a SIM card in, it recognizes the SIM card, and it needs to restart to configure it to work with my specific carrier. So just tap Restart and Switch. Once the phone reboots, tap Start again. Now agree to the terms and conditions as well as the privacy policy, but you don't need to agree to sending diagnostic data. I personally don't like to send any unnecessary data to any companies, so I'm just going to leave that unchecked and tap Agree. Next, you'll be asked to grant permissions for Samsung apps and services to have access to a number of different features. I personally use all of these features, so I'm going to go ahead and allow access to all of them. Next, log into your Wi-Fi network. Once you're logged in, tap Next. The phone is going to automatically check for updates and install any that are necessary. And now we get to a screen called Copy Apps and Data, and this is where we're going to transfer all the data from the old device to the new device. So go ahead and tap Next. Then tap Next again. Then it's going to ask if you're transferring from an Android or iOS device. since I'm transferring from a Note 20 Ultra, I'm going to tap Galaxy, then tap Agree to the terms and conditions. And there's two different ways that you can transfer the data. You can transfer with a cable or wirelessly. If you want the fastest transfer, cable is probably going to be the best option. But if you're transferring a lot of data, like let's say you have over 100 gigs worth of photos and videos on your old device and you're going to be transferring those over, wireless may be a better option because that'll allow you to keep both devices plugged in and charging while the transfer happens. Since I'm not going to be transferring a ton of data, I'm just going to go ahead and tap cable. Now it's going to ask me to plug my old device into the new device. So I've turned my Note 20 Ultra back on, and I'm just going to plug the two devices into each other. Once the devices are plugged in, I'll get a notification on the old device asking me to allow access. Just tap allow. And now the S22 Ultra is going to look through all the data available on my Note 20 Ultra to see what it can transfer. Once it's done scanning, it gives me 3 different transfer options. I can transfer everything, which is about 130 gigabytes, and it'll take about 48 minutes. I can transfer just my accounts, calls, contacts, and messages. That'll be about 1.77 gigabytes and take about 2 minutes. Or you can customize exactly what you want to transfer. If you already know you want to transfer everything, just tap everything, then tap next and be done. But for me, I want to be very selective with what I want to transfer, so I'm going to tap custom and tap next. This is going to give me a full list of everything I can transfer and let me customize each one of these categories. The first option is to transfer all of your Samsung and Google accounts, and this will automatically log you into all of those accounts on the new device, saving you a ton of time. Next, you can transfer all of your contacts and call logs, and if you tap this arrow, you can choose which accounts to transfer from. You can also choose to transfer all of your messages, or you can tap this little arrow and choose which time frame of messages you want to transfer. Apps is pretty obvious. This transfers all of your apps from the old device to the new device. And if I tap this little arrow, I can select which specific apps I want to transfer. If I scroll through this and I see an application that I don't really use anymore, I can go ahead and uncheck that, and that app is no longer going to transfer. If you only want to transfer a few applications, just tap the All option at the top, then tap it a second time to uncheck everything, then select just the applications you want to transfer. Settings is an incredibly useful option, and I highly recommend that you turn it on. If you tap this little arrow, you get a bit more information about what it transfers. So here you can say it transfers your phone settings, app settings, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and your Samsung Cloud settings. I don't have customization services turned on my Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. That's why this option is grayed out, but this is another thing you'd also be able to transfer. The most significant thing here is the Wi-Fi connections. This will transfer all of your Wi-Fi passwords from your old device to your new device, so you don't have to ask your friends what their login information is again to get back on their network. Further down, you can transfer your home screen setup. And if you tap this arrow, it describes what can be transferred. So what this does is it transfers your widget and app layout, as well as your lock screen and home screen wallpapers, and your Samsung Deck settings. Secure Folder will transfer any data in any secure folders you have set up, and secure folders are just folders that require an extra password to get access to. This is particularly useful if you keep sensitive information like bank account information, tax information, or even something like account passwords in a folder on your phone. You definitely want to make sure that's in a secure folder with an extra password. That said, I don't recommend keeping passwords in something like a Note application because that's just asking to have all of your passwords taken from you. If you do select the secure folder option, you'll be prompted to enter the secure folder passcode on the old device. Next, you have the option to transfer images, videos, audio, and documents and files. And in each one of these categories, you can select specific folders, albums, or files that you want to transfer. Scrolling all the way to the bottom, you'll see a section called SD card. So if your old device has an SD card installed in it, all of that data is going to show up under this section. I currently don't have any data stored on that SD card, so there's nothing to select. And if you didn't have an SD card installed in the previous device, this section just wouldn't be here. When transferring from an iPhone, you'll be asked to trust the new device, so go ahead and tap Trust, then enter in your passcode on the iPhone, then tap Next on your S22 Ultra, and you'll be met with all the things you can transfer from an iPhone. As you can see, iPhones can't transfer quite as much information as a Samsung device can, but you still get a lot of different things. You can still transfer all your call history and contacts, your messages still all transfer, and you can still select to transfer all of your messages or a limited amount of messages. You can still transfer all of your applications, but you can't select which individual applications you want to transfer. This is just going to transfer every application that has an Android equivalent. If there is no Android equivalent of an application, then it just won't transfer. You can also transfer data from some iPhone apps, including the calendar, notes application, your bookmarks, and all of your alarm settings. You can transfer some settings as well. Most importantly, you still get that Wi-Fi option, which lets you transfer all your Wi-Fi passwords from the old device to the new device. In terms of the home screen layout, it'll actually copy the apps and shortcuts, as well as the lock screen wallpaper and home screen wallpaper, as long as it's not a native wallpaper that came with your iPhone. And that's for copyright reasons. You can also transfer all your images, videos, audio, and documents that are saved directly on the iPhone. This doesn't transfer anything that's saved on the iCloud, but not directly on your iPhone. So if you want to transfer that, you first have to download it from your iCloud to your iPhone, then make the transfer. And unfortunately, you can't select specific images, videos, audio, or documents. It's just going to transfer everything that's there. At the very bottom, you get an option to find out what data can't be transferred. And this includes FaceTime and voice call history, which makes sense because the S22 Ultra doesn't have FaceTime. It also doesn't transfer any messages with iMessage effects or emergency alert messages. And it doesn't transfer data from locked notes. And as I mentioned earlier, it can't transfer any default wallpapers from your iPhone for copyright reasons. When transferring from a non-Samsung Android device, you'll first need to download the Samsung Smart Switch mobile application to that device. And you can find that right on the Google Play Store. I've already downloaded it, so I'm just going to go ahead and open it. And the first time you open this application, it may ask you to grant it a bunch of permissions in order to be able to transfer all the files from the old device to the new device. So just accept all of those permissions, and you'll be able to get back to this screen and tap Let's Go. For this example, let's go ahead and use the wireless transfer method. And on my S22 Ultra, I'm going to select Galaxy Android. Tap Agree, and tap Wireless. The S22 Ultra is going to find the old device and send an invitation to connect. Just go ahead and tap Accept on your old device. And now the S22 Ultra is going to search through all the data on the old device and show me all the things I can transfer. Again, I get 3 different options. Since there are some differences, I do want to go into custom and show you guys what those differences are. As you can see, you can't transfer quite as much when transferring from a non-Samsung Android device versus transferring from another Samsung device. Fortunately, you do still get the really important things like accounts, call history and contacts, your messages, and you can still select the time frame of messages you want to transfer. You can still select applications and select which specific applications you want to transfer. And you still get the option to transfer images, videos, music and recordings, and documents and files. At the bottom, you can tap here to see what can't be transferred, and it tells you that some app data can't be transferred due to that specific application's policies. You can still transfer your settings, but unfortunately it's just general phone settings. For some reason, this won't transfer all of your Wi-Fi passwords. Fortunately, there's still a way to transfer all of your Wi-Fi networks from your old device to your new device, but it is a bit more difficult. You have to first go to your settings on your old device, then go to your network and internet settings, then tap Internet, and select Save to Networks. From here, you can select one of the networks that you want to transfer to your new device. For now, let's go with this one. In the middle, you'll see an option here called Share, and it looks like a little QR code. If you tap this, then enter your PIN or use a fingerprint, a QR code will pop up with the password embedded in the QR code. And with some devices, like the Pixel 5, it'll actually show you the Wi-Fi password. Now, all you have to do is open up the camera on your Galaxy S22 Ultra, aim it at the QR code, and you'll get a pop-up asking if you want to connect to the network. Just tap Connect to Network, and it's going to add that to your saved networks. Now, it may not look like it did anything, but if you tap the 3 dots in the upper right corner, then tap Advanced, then scroll down to Manage Networks, you'll see that red jacket has been added to my saved networks. Now just repeat that process for each network you want to transfer to the new device. I should also point out that not every Android device is going to give you the Wi-Fi password written out as well. Most of them are just going to give you the QR code. But that's okay because scanning the QR code is the fastest way to transfer the network to your new device. Once you've selected everything you want to transfer, you'll see the estimated amount of data you're going to be transferring, as well as the estimated amount of time it's going to take. When you're ready to transfer, just scroll to the bottom and tap Transfer. Since I decided to transfer all of my messages, I get a little notification here that tells me that transferring all of my messages may take a while, and it recommends transferring a lesser amount of messages. I do prefer to keep all of my messages, so I'm going to switch that back to all, then tap Transfer. Now it's going to ask me if I want to copy the data to the new device on the old device, so I just go to the bottom and tap Copy. And now I need to sign in with my fingerprint, and it'll start copying everything over. First thing it'll copy is all of my accounts, and it'll actually show me which accounts were copied. Now I can just tap Next on the bottom and continue the setup process on the new device while everything transfers in the background. Once you finish the setup process, just tap Finish, and you'll be taken to the home screen on your Galaxy S22 Ultra. Now keep in mind, the cable does need to stay connected while the transfer happens. If you pull the cable out at any point, the transfer is going to stop and you're not going to have all the data transfer over. If you want to see the status of the transfer, just pull down the notification shade on your S22 Ultra, and in your notifications, you'll see transferring data from your old phone. If you tap this, it's going to take you back into the transferring application, and it's going to show you how much it's transferred and about how much time is left. And it'll even give you specific information on what exactly is being transferred at that time. Fortunately, you don't need to stay on this screen while it's transferring. You can go to your home screen and go ahead and start playing around on your Galaxy S22 Ultra while the transfer finishes in the background. Once the transfer finishes, you get a notification on the old device telling you that the transfer is complete. And on the new device, it'll tell you that it's done transferring the data, but that it's still organizing the transferred data in the background. And that's because the way this works is the old device packages up all of the information into a smaller package, kind of like a zip file, then it transfers that smaller package in one shot, so the transfer happens faster. Then the new device has to unpack all of that and sort it on the new device. This allows for faster transfers and less time with the two devices having to be connected to each other. Fortunately, at this point, you can disconnect the USB cable and start using your brand new Galaxy S22 Ultra. And if you're curious how long it's going to take to finish unpacking all of that data, just pull your notification shade down again, scroll to the bottom, it'll say that it's organizing your transferred data. If you tap this little arrow here, it'll show you that there's an hour and 1 minute left. And that's typically because I'm transferring a ton of messages, and that takes a really long time to unpack. And if you tap this, it'll show you exactly what's being unpacked. And just like I mentioned, there it is, updating messages data. If you've already finished setting up your S22 Ultra, but still want to transfer information from an older device without having to factory reset your S22 Ultra, all you have to do is go to your applications, tap the search icon, and type in the word smart. You're going to get a search result here called Smart Switch. Tap that, and that's going to take you right back into the data transfer application. From here, just tap Receive Data, select which device you want to transfer the data from, then follow the exact same setup process I showed you earlier. That's it for this tech episode. God bless, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.